you, amigos? Welcome to yet another episode. This is episode 10 of Woman by Design. Imagine the far that we have come. We are now on episode 10. I am loving the growth. I am loving the way you're applauding us. And thank you so much for feedback. As I always keep on saying, it's just never the same without you. So we are here because you have also come. If you're new here, please go and hit that subscription button so that you always get to know when our episodes have dropped in and you have them. Last week, we started a conversation on women in entrepreneurship. And we had the lovely Gloria, the beautiful one, we all can agree. Yeah, you can see her as we were talking about, she was giving us her own experiences on how it has been to be an entrepreneur, especially in the fashion and design industry. And today we continue that conversation still. Hi, Gloria.
Hi, Edna.
How are you?
I am fine. I am good.
Nice to see you again here.
Thank you. Yeah. You flatter me.
It's true. It's not. It's not flattering. It's real. Yeah. So we continue on our conversation. Last week you had built on your personal story and talked about the common challenges that you face as a woman in that particular field, and also as a believer in that particular field, and the place of faith and how it influences your decision making in the work that you're doing. Now, today, do you have some of the what could be some of the societal stereotypes and expectations that people have when you are in that field, and how have they impacted you as a designer?
Like I had said on the previous episode, fashion space has been for women for a long time, and if it's for men, we usually find men who are feminine, who are operating in that space. So you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Okay, let's my fellow audience.
Yeah, so it's a feminine business, and the funny thing is men also dress, men are also out there, they're dressing up, they have to be adorned also. And I think being a woman, people expect you to do the best. You understand this thing. It's a business for women, so you have to do that. There's no room for mistakes. And for me, like I said, my business is handmade. I make everything by my hands. And one thing about handmade businesses is you have mistakes. It's a process. You learn as you go. And when you make mistakes, because for me, I always inquire from my clients, how was your products, anything you would love me to change or would love me to improve, and having that, when you do that, people feel like you failed them. They're expecting you to be good at this. This is your field. Why are you not good at it? So that's an expectation. That's a bar that has been set too high. Like there's little room for mistakes when you're a woman in the fashion space. And I think I struggle with that because like I said, my business is handmade. When you make something by hands, you have to do mistakes. It's something. It's not machine. So that's one stereotype. And then the second thing, I'm a woman and I am a young woman. So I am 26 years of age, and I think when people see that you're a young person, they kind of don't trust your business. They're like, unajua nini? Like, what do you know? What do you mean, You have to be in this business.
Knowledge comes with old age.
Yeah, and then you find that I do work and someone is amazing, like, this is so good. Is this you? You could do this with your hands. This is so amazing. Like, we can't believe it. So first thing, I'm a woman. There's this expectation set, and then now I'm a young person. So when you find these things, it becomes a challenge because now these are stereotypes set for you in the society, which directly impact your business. And another thing also, it's being in ministry again. People see you out here. I get my products from Markiti sometimes. I'm in town. I am wearing kilemba in my head. I am in rubber shoes. And then on Sunday, you're on the pulpit. And then they don't get that discord. You're like two different people. And I don't want to be two different people. I want to be the same. I can still be a pastor on Sunday. I can still be a pastor every day of the week. I can still be a business owner. So I don't want people to separate that, yeah.
You're actually reminding me of a meme that was trending the other day on a fashion designer, their products versus how
how they look. Yeah, we don't look like this every day.
You don't always look like your product.
No, not every day.
Shouldn't work out.
I'm at work. I'm working. You know, when I'm at work, when you're at work, and I work in a workshop. You know, my workspace is a workshop. So I have hammers. I have metal lying around everywhere. I can't be dressing like this in that workshop. So.
So you're talking about some of these stereotypes and expectations that people are having. That number one, there's very little room to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're a robot or a machine yourself. And number two, you have highlighted the bit of you being a young woman, and the stereotype that comes with unaweza fanya hii forgetting that you are a Gen Z. So how have these things impacted your life, and how have you been able to balance and cope with them? Because we have people out here, I believe that some of them could be my audience, that actually they have failed, or it has become almost impossible for them to strike a balance, and this leads to people drowning and the dream dying when it's still very young. So for you, maybe you can share your experience on how have you been able to balance this out so that you keep going.
I think the first thing is finding the balance. You know, just balancing your life. Like I said, there's this, during the days of the week, you'd find me in different outfits. You'd find me in different outfits in church, and people get like you don't have that balance in life, and then also balancing your life and your business life. So for me, the one thing that I did was to separate myself from the brand. So I have Ziria Designs as the brand, and then I have Gloria Mwadzi as a brand on its own. So that's where I got my balance. So what am I doing on my own without the business? Leave the business aside. What am I doing for myself? Of course, I have to be a good person naturally. Leave the business aside. You have to be a good person.
You're talking about your character.
Yeah, your character as a person now. So you yourself have to actually be stable. You know, there's something that let me just digress a little bit and talk about a small something I were taught by my lead pastor about relationships. You know, it says relationships cannot make you whole. It's the same thing as businesses. Businesses cannot make you whole. You have to go into business being a whole person.
And then
you know,
go into the business to seek identity.
Yeah, to seek. You cannot find your identity in business. So you have to know yourself. Who are you as a person? So once I figured that out for myself, I knew I am a fashion designer. I am a pastor. I love worship. You know, you have to have practices like praying and fasting regularly, and not just praying, but praying through. Not just praying and then leaving at that. You have to pray through, fasting, you know, serving in church. So this is me as a person. So and then now I bring this.
You walk with the Lord on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. And then now you bring this whole person who is, you know, you've created this persona for yourself, and then now you bring that into business. So you don't get into business when you're broken. It will not mend you. It will not fix you. So that's where people lack that balance. And once you do that, you can actually separate yourself from the business. Okay. Yeah.
You're bringing up a very important point on your identity as a person that is so different from the business. And if I can hear you clearly, is that this identity, we get it from God, the Creator. And God is the owner and the origin of ideas and creativity, which we actually need in our businesses. So you must constantly fellowship and work with the Lord as an individual for the same to be reflected in the business. And even if you encounter, you know, because I know clients can be something sometimes.
Tell me about it.
Like, no matter what they throw at you in the business, you will still remain stable as a person and be able to still handle other people. So I hope my listeners, you actually picking something that is profound on that particular statement, that your walk with the Lord, especially as a believer and in the space or in the industry that you are in, because again on the first episode, Gloria had mentioned about the stiff competition between her and the people, you know, the people who are not born again, and how do you just balance and find a breakthrough in such a space. So it's of profound interest that you have your relationship with God so intact that no matter what happens outside here, you will still remain stable. And I think that flows now into the bit of resting. Now, because this is still you as an individual, resting and self-care. How has it been for you when it comes to the bit of resting and caring for yourself so that you can be able to reach out to, considering the space that you are in, you might constantly be needed to be on the run. So how have you gone around it yourself?
For me, for myself, even in ministry, you have to take rest. So my resting time is usually 10 minutes on Mondays. So that's the day I do not work. I just rest. And not resting, when you rest, you still have to be in prayer. You still have to be, with the Lord. So you have to take time for yourself. Take care of yourself. Otherwise, your body will just collapse on you. You'll just find a time where you are needed to actually deliver and you can't. Especially being in a creative space, your mind has to be creative. So when you tire your mind, you get to a point where you cannot create, and that will eventually affect your business. So take time to rest, even if it's a day off. Create it for yourself. I know business owners, they say they don't have days off. Create a day off for yourself. It has to be intentional. You have to purpose for it. And see, like the day off, when a client calls you, say, no, it's day off completely. So you have to take a day off for yourself. You have to go on holidays just like you would when you work for someone. You have to take care of yourself. Go to the salon once in a while. Get your nails done. I can't have my nails when I'm working, but then I also, when I'm on break, I get my nails done. You have look nice once in a while. Go out for that date, even if it's alone. Take care of yourself, and eventually, once you're happy, your business is going to be happy and it will thrive. Yeah.
So, Gloria, what is rest for you? Because can you design to rest and your mind is thinking of how should the next earpieces look like? You're thinking of the next design. How should this look like, or how should this next piece look like? How is rest for you? Because I think it's a slippery slope. Slow, but it can be quite slippery. How do you just what is rest for you as a fashion designer, or
for me? First of all, I have to highlight, like, the best designs usually come out from a place of rest. When you're high up and about, sometimes you get caught up into the mix of the business that you even forget to create. So resting for me is taking time away from the business, from the noise, taking out time away from social media, taking time away from work completely. For me, it's hard because my workshop is in the house. So like when you wake up, you actually see it. Ndio hiyo iko hapo inakuona na unaona kuna kaia haukumaliza. So you have to, it's intentional. You have to be intentional and deliberate about it. Otherwise, you fall back into that pattern of, when you're in rest and you're going back into business. So you have to take time away from all that. Yeah, so that's rest for me. It might be different for others, but for me, it's taking time away from everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, to take you back to the starting bit of, I was there. Of course, I was there for the launch of Syria Designs last year.
Yeah.
How was the feeling? Were you afraid about it, or how was the feeling?
I was scared because God had spoken to me to start business, and I was kind of working in disobedience for a long time. I was like, no, there's a safety that comes with employment. There's a guarantee at the end of the month, there's payment. With business, there's so many uncertainties. 1 month you're making sales that you have not even made before, and another month you making zero to no sales. And I was scared. I was like, will I be able to manage all this? And then I was living away from home. I had to go back home just to start up from afresh, and that starting from scratch again kind of was a fear that I was letting my parents down. I was letting people who are looking up to me down. I was going back, people who saw me in the fashion space when I was working. I even got to a place where I was winning awards and people are looking at me from that aspect, and now I have to go all the way back and start from scratch. So there was that fear that will I actually make it? I'm just going to try this and then it will fail. There was all these things going through my head. Yeah.
So how did you overcome this fear and doubt?
Like I said, you have to have a relationship with God. That is one thing that will get you through all this, because it is hard. That is something I'm not going to lie to. And it's going to be easy, only if it is hard. You will get people who will scam you. Let alone just the business itself. Working with suppliers who will give you bad things. Before you get the good suppliers of your products, you will go through it. So it is having a relationship with God. That is one thing that got me going. And then also taking my time to serve, because I was into serving because I serve in church. I was in the music team, and then I grew into being a pastor. So taking time to serve, that it helps you not get into depression, because you will there's a small space of you getting depressed. So taking time to have a relationship with God, having a firm, solid relationship is what is going to keep you going in all the chaos of the world and the business world.
Okay, thank you, Gloria. I am thinking through of a number of people actually, examples that I'm having in my head of people who had actually stable, or businesses that had actually picked up. And then at some point maybe things just didn't, I don't know what happened, but things didn't work out well. And the businesses, went down the drainage, and these people got into depression, like you're saying. I know from a relationship with them that these are people who actually had a relationship with God. These are people who actually served in ministry, but somehow they still got into that space. So I don't know if, as an entrepreneur, is there any other thing that you can actually recommend or tell the audience into walking through this journey of overcoming the fears and the doubts?
Aside from, like you said, having a relationship with God, push through. Don't give up. It's easy. It's usually the easiest option. Somewhere along the line, I almost gave up myself. I actually took a break from the business. I was like, you know what? It's never that serious, baby. It's never that serious. So for me, one thing that got me back on the line was pushing myself. I was like, I'm not giving up. Just taking that leap of faith and starting a business, just thinking about that made me push through. Like, I could not give up. I was like, now I would even be letting more people down than me starting the business, So at the end of the day, it's not about me. Me having this business is not about me. It's about serving a purpose. And if I give up, if I don't push through that purpose, then there's something I don't want. Ifike tunaenda heaven and then unaambiwa wewe uingie huku, you never did, you never served your purpose here on earth. That is something that I dread. I do not want to get to heaven and be told that. So make sure that the business you're doing is something that actually is purposeful for you, and it's a business that makes you feel fulfilled. So you're not just doing it for the money. You're actually being fulfilled and being molded and being created through your business. So that's one thing that helps.
Wonderful. You have mentioned something and said that make sure that you're just not doing it for money at all, that you're getting fulfilled as an individual. I don't know whether Ziria Design has gotten to a point whereby you are accruing profit. And how do you just go about it? Do you pay yourself first, or do you first, how do you just balance the profits in the businesses and all?
In honest truth, businesses, you do not have a salary until it's 3 years old. If you decide to start paying yourself a salary right now, it will be now about the money. Because it gets to a point where you have to actually go into savings and feed into the business again, especially in the first year. A business is like a baby. A baby, before a baby gets on its feet, it takes time. You have to nurture, you have to be there, you have to watch every step, you have to put in all the effort. So right now I can't say like I'm paying myself, and then for me, I have different, aside from the Zira Designs, I also have other means of income. So those are the ones I used to pay to get me going through the month and through stuff. But for Zira itself, I actually wanted to grow into something big, be a whole company, be a whole industry where I can employ others. So for you to start paying yourself a salary and see that you're actually gaining something, it's 3 years into business. Yeah.
I think I'm loving the honesty. Just to remind you, if you're new and you're trying to build on something, it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes a lot of patience for you to actually get there. And I'm loving the candidness that actually Gloria is having, that she has to find some other side hustles and other things, outside here to feed into the business. So you'd be expected for you to feed the business. Don't get there, you're so hyped the first few months. I actually started a business and I was so hyped.
We want to make money by the third month. We want to be making millions.
But last one, I think 4-6 months or something, and I was like, no, I am not paying out rent from my pocket again. Yeah. So I think that I love that particular bit. And other than that, what other advice would you have maybe for someone who is new, a woman who is a young woman who is, or even middle-aged or old woman who has seen they need to take that step of faith right now? What advice would you give them?
Go ahead. I think for me, I would have been far off if I had started earlier. Don't doubt yourself. Me, I doubted myself for so long, because it's one thing working for someone and it's one thing being the boss. Those are two different things, and I didn't think I was good enough, For me, the brand I was working for was a brand on its own, so people would buy because of that brand. So I didn't think I myself was good enough for me to become a brand on my own. But then I just decided to take the leap. If it goes down, it goes down. At least I would say I tried. So try, just do it. Don't fear, because fear is one thing that is going to be constant. This past Sunday I was talking about something called the principle of attention, and where you put your focus on, so it's going to determine your direction at the end of the day. So focus on God, focus on that business. Start. Don't be afraid. Take courage. If it goes under, you will know it went under, but you won't know if you have not started. So my advice would be just start.
Just start.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then learn. Learn as you go. I did a business course. I did financial courses to ensure that I am on the right track. I have people who handle my accounting and auditing. So you have to learn. It's a learning process. You can't just start the business without you not learning. So you have to take the courses that are required. They're online these days. You don't even need to pay. You can just go on YouTube and everything is there for you, and learn about the business. Every day is a learning process for me. Every day you find new things about the business that you didn't know when you're starting out. So always constantly learn. And at the end of the day, you'll find that you're making money. And money is there. Fashion business, money is there. Money is there. That is something I assure you. So the money is there. Yeah.
Pesa iko kwa mifuko ya watu. Ni wewe unajua kuitoa. So yes, learn and just start. That dream that you have been having, the day to start is today. So go ahead and just start. Today I read a quote somewhere by, I think it was Maya Angelou, that give your best in the space that you're in. As you're starting, give what you know what is the best. And when you have learned the best, then do better. So as Gloria is saying, learning is a process that we just embrace each and every day. I don't know what it is that you desire to do, but I pray that you will take that leap and step of faith and just go for it. Because there's a lot that lies out here for you. There's a lot that is awaiting you. And the question is, how committed and how zealous are you, fellow women by design? And with that, I want to bring this discussion to a close. I don't know if Gloria, you have a parting shot as we just round this up, or we can just finish this.
Thank you, Edda, for having me. This was such a nice time. One thing I've always wanted is not to gatekeep and die with information. I have to share what my experiences are, and I know I'm helping someone today. So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been grateful to be here, and I hope to have more episodes with you. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. As Gloria has said, don't keep this to yourself. Please share with other people. Share this video to your friends and your loved ones and the social media spaces, and let it just go out there and build the life of someone. And until next time, cheerio.